A heart.
A heart? A heart. Is
No,
that because
it's
you
a
love
heart.
me? You know what I love? That fucking rock star hairstyle that Jake has. Jesus. That's so funny. That's actually about how long, maybe even a smidge longer than mine was at its longest before I cut it forever ago. Holy shit.
Mine's getting to the
Only
stage
taken me
where
2
it's
years.
getting yeah, mine's getting to the stage where it's getting annoying around my neck. I'm like, oh no.
It just pisses me off having long hair. I'm like, maybe I'd like long hair, but on the other hand, I value just like washing it and it taking like a minute to dry.
I was about to say
way
I'm
more.
learning. As my hair gets longer, progressively my time in and around the shower and that time of day gets longer and longer.
Yeah.
I never have my hair out. It's always up.
I usually had mine in a tail, but I let it out sometimes just because. Here's the real question. Then we gotta get back to the game. Here's the real question. Do you ever use a straightening iron? Do you ever like
I
straighten
have.
it?
I've used one before in my life, but no, I don't.
Yeah, I would do it like every once in a great while, just like straighten it, just to have like a different look for like that day. But it's so much friggin' work, so much work.
Yeah. No, I did it for my year 12 formal. Never again.
All right. So, anyways, let's go back in. So you are bringing her to see the temple, then, correct, Neil?
To walk past the temple.
Yeah, walk
past
past. She's
it.
not going in it. No.
Okay, my apologies. That's correct. Thank you.
There's like betraying a friend, and then there's like doing their partner in their house while they're in it, betraying.
What you learn very quickly, Tesh, when you go to speak with Elliot, is that with Elliot, he actually, when you tell him the situation, you give it to him, so on and so forth. He's like a little bit reserved at first, but then he actually ends up leaning into it. Like, wait a second, these are the people that saved my life. You know what I mean? These are the people that saved me. So I, to a personal degree, feel like I owe them some degree of gratitude. So if this is a way that I can make my own personal nation and a nation that I personally owe a gratitude to work better together and more rapidly, especially considering that rapidly means the quicker that Hodgwayne gets crushed. He very much leans like, yes, let's make this happen. Let's end this. So he is very amicable to the. He's very excited about the idea of working closely with their lawmakers. He also, on a side note, says it would be nice to know how it is that they letter their laws. That way, we might be able to utilize this for our benefit in the future. So.
And I would, of course, make note of him that is definitely a good idea, especially since their laws have to be exceedingly specific because they cannot break them at all as far as their faith decrees.
Yeah. So he's going to be excited for that portion. So he actually just agrees to go along with it, so on and so forth. But he does make one small request. To wait 3 days before he leaves because he's literally buttoning off that other project that he's been working on for as long as you've known him. So, and then you're going to have to give that back to them. Moving on. Neil, you're walking with her. She's not really one so much for small talk. She'll make note here and there. It's a beautiful manor. Looks to be Perrin built. Of Paradil design. And you inform her, oh, that's actually Leon Yeager's manor. Huh. And then, walks by the smithy and says, I noticed the new smithy you have here. It is very well designed. However, I smell not the burning of iron, nor hear the tinging of steel. She's off running an errand. Things like that as she's walking through your town with you over towards the actual temple of Rogar. When she stands outside the temple of Rogar, she stands in front of it and crosses her arms. She can't really cross her arms because she has her helmet tucked underneath one arm. So she has her helmet under one arm and just kind of stands there and stares up at it. And just kind of takes it in for a couple of moments. Just appreciating the design and so on. Then she turns to you and says, do you know the history of Lady Aravel Dark Eyes and why it is that your companion is very likely the reason why your companion has the animosity towards her that he does?
I've read a small amount on the subject. They're both gods of war. They're opposed to each other because of that.
She nods. Yes, and no. The Dark Maiden was once human, much like yourself. She was a young maiden that was chosen because of her personal ideals, her morality, to resolve a situation. She was chosen by the gods. All of the gods, for the most part, if I understand correctly, had chosen her. All of them except for one. All of them except for Vrogar Waruk. You see, for Vrogar was the problem. He's a god of war. He's known as the Battle Fury, or the Breaker, in modern day known as the Breaker of Chains. But he has always been the god of battle. He loves and revels in the chaos of war, and the screams of glory and the screams of pain that happen on the battlefield. So much so that he waged an eternal war. He gathered the minds of so many people and just caused chaos that wreaked havoc across all of Aurorum, not just Aeroth. So the gods found this one young woman, fairly young, early teens, again if I understand correctly, and chose her because of her ideals, her open-mindedness, her steadfast nature, and the way that she was able to outmaneuver the various difficulties in life she encountered as a human. Rose her to divinity with the sole task of defeating Vrogar Waruk, of containing the horrors that he brought to the world. What she did, her approach, was to amass the greatest army that the world had ever seen. A massive militia, structure upon structure of peoples that would follow their various orders, and won battle after battle against Vrogar's men. I say Vrogar's men, his women, all of those that worshiped Vrogar, but they didn't have much of a structure to them. They were more akin to the hordes of orcs that we often see pouring out of the barren lands. It's chaos. She rose an army that combined all the races that had never met, races that have always warred, and brought them together for this massive conflict that lasted for many years. Inevitably, she won. Her approach, her strategy, her superiority, all of that. She won the war. She defeated them, broke their strength, and brought a bit of order to the world. To stop Vrogar from doing this again, she contained him. She imprisoned him. That prisoning lasted for, let the theologians argue back and forth how long, but let's call it 1,000 years. Eventually, a god as powerful as Vrogar is not going to be able to be contained forever. He found a way. Some say it was through his sheer strength and fury. Others say it was the actions of the mortals that worshipped him and wished to see him free. I don't care. He got free. He broke free. And at that point swore that to be chained, to be held or bound to somebody else's word, to somebody else's dominion, was a sin in and of itself. His followers started calling him the Breaker of Chains, for he stood against slavery. An honorable ideal at that. However, let's not muck things up. Vrogar is as Vrogar was, a god of war, a god that would wage war, that would cause chaos and listen to the screams in the battlefield and rejoice in them, a god that would just take lands because, well, they were fun to take, but not keep them. They were just fun to take. And he came back a bit changed in the sense that he would free those that were captured, but would still Vrogar. Time went on, and Lady Aravel thought that she would try to break him again, would try to wage against him and win. It didn't quite work out as well as she had hoped. There's an endless war between her and him that goes on to this day. She tries to contain him and his people from this mindless raging that would happen, that we often see swarming out of the Barren Lands, but has not had the success that she had in the past. She's never been able to amass the same army she had in the past because Vrogar, in that slight change of mindset, was able to sway so many more people away from her will and towards him. And let's be honest, along the way, her approach changed. She is still open to tolerance and still expects worship and demands obedience. But the punishing of those that aren't obedient, some say, has changed. The way that she expects tolerance and punishes those that aren't, some say, have changed. And the way that she punishes those that don't worship her openly, some say, have changed. They say it because it benefits them. Paradel has certainly altered history and the view of Lady Aravel to the way that they wish to have her viewed. And unfortunately, your companion probably sees her in the light of, well, through the light that Paradel sheds for him to see. Not all people see Lady Aravel as the way that they wish for others. Many of us remember the woman that was raised to divinity and saved the world from consuming itself because of his actions. There are some that worship Lady Aravel that are morons. There are some that worship her and use her name to do terrible things. We stand against them. There are many that worship Vrogar in the name of bloodshed. We look to stop them as well. But there are those that worship Vrogar for the good reasons, breaking chains and saving lives. My question is, does your companion do the latter? Or does he use the latter as a guise for the former? I'll only know when I meet him.
One is a good man. What he's done has been done to help people. There are times when he could have killed followers of Lady Aravel just because, for the bloodshed, but he has not. He stayed his hands.
That was my dog. I don't know if you heard her. So anyways, she says, he did stay his hands. I've heard of this, of course. My people have told me. And he, of course, allows worshippers of Lady Aravel to traverse the city and to do trade. He's not a person without mind. He's not a blind worshipper or a man that seeks carnage in every moment. But again, I'm still curious exactly what kind of man he is. I'm curious if he has even the strong convictions he has through ignorance, because he's only seen Lady Aravel through the wrong eyes. Or, my apologies, through the wrong light.
Respectfully, what is a god but a reflection of her worshippers?
She'll actually turn to you and give you a slight bow to that and says, wise words from someone who is chosen by a deity. Please, show me to the temple of Lady Orenda.
He'd lead the way.
And again, she kind of walks through the place and she's more than happy to go into it and look about it and so on and so forth. And she doesn't really, again, remark. She's not a small talk person. But one of the remark that she would make as she leaves the place and says, it is certainly a reflection of he who built it. And kind of leaves it alone at that. And from there, she would look to retire for the night because while she is steadfast and so on and so forth, she is tired from the road. She just wanted to get through the meetings and hopefully head home. Wasn't really allowed to do that, and so she would go to bed. Later on that night, because it would even be one of those, would you join us for dinner? And she would flat out say to you, is it a requirement? Is it considered informal? Is it considered an insult to decline?
No, but we would enjoy your presence. However, as I said, it's not a requirement. If you would rather rest, then you are welcome to. Obviously, if your soldiers wish to dine in the city, they may do so.
She says, My soldiers will pay their fair way at the appropriate inns, taverns, or whatever it is that you have to offer here. As for myself, I have enjoyed your presence. However, unless you are looking to court me, I don't think that I need to spend much more time with you.
Rowan actually blushes at that. He's usually the one who makes people feel outmatched.
And so she'll say, I know the way to my room. Good evening. And she'll, again, give a slight bow, and she'll turn and walk off from wherever she is in the city at the time that you guys have this conversation towards the castle and into her room without any guard or the like. If a guard is ordered or chooses to follow her, she'll look at them and say, this is unnecessary. If they choose to follow her anyway, she would say anything else.
Her. I can't let the leader of a nation who we've not signed a treaty with walk our streets alone. Yeah. God.
Fair enough. And she does say to the guard, this is unnecessary, but doesn't yell at him or
the same way that she did it to Liam.
Of course. And then she would go and retire for the evening. So at some point in time, she would have food brought up to her chambers, but would retire for the evening. That same evening, however, probably while the two of you are kind of getting back together and handling things and whatnot, and Elliot's not going to join for dinner because he's going to be trying to furiously finish what it is he's working on. You will have one returning home with two.
With two.
Two.
Just kidding. Two stayed in red.
Two was starting the festivities in Reed, and then moving to Kersfall.
Okay.
One thing one got from two though was he asked to borrow his holy symbol.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, one arrives, I guess, and just walks into the, I don't know, wherever everyone is.
Yep, they're gonna be in there.
I like to imagine me and Varen are like empty plates sitting in the dining hall discussing in quiet voices, like over glasses of wine.
So they're drunk.
No. A singular glass of wine.
Oh, my apologies.
Between the two of us.
When he says glass, it's one of those you know what Josh always drinks whenever he's on stream? His 45 ounce. So anyways, you come walking into the two of them having finished.
He just walks in, stone faced, and sits down. And just stares at Rayron. It doesn't say anything. Just stares.
You were away all day. We had to conduct negotiations without you.
Wasn't even aware that they were coming.
We struggled to find time to tell you, what with two being around.
Come on, Rayron. You'd have told me at any point in time two doesn't sleep in the castle. He's sleeping in the shrine.
It's not an easy thing to tell you that worshippers of Lady Erebel are coming to our city, into our home.
Whilst only two of us need to agree on things, it would be, I would think, a third should at least be consulted.
Well, yes. We would like to consult, but you weren't available at the time, so we had to make do. Come, have a seat, one. We'll tell you what we discussed.
One sits down.
So we decided on. Oh, are you talking? You're muted.
I am muted. Yes. Oops. I am sorry. One.
You were like, "What the fuck? He's talking over me."
Yeah. Time got away from us, and honestly, we should have told you sooner. They arrived sooner than I had honestly expected.
He doesn't regard anything. He just sort of stares at the both of you.
We agreed to the buffer zone they suggested.
with some changes, caveats, but we would tell him everything that happened in the meeting.
The buffer zone is for Idirites only, not those from Peridel or other countries. They're going to allow us to build roads through it and assist us in policing the roads. And seeing as this is a neutral ground, both of us are going to have wardens appointed by us and approved by the other faction to police the area.
He nods as you say that.
We've also discussed the problem of Haldgwen. Octavia views Haldgwen as a problem as well. She's agreed that if she can, she will get us into the city, provide us with information, and we're going to attempt to sort out 2 of the problems. She's already provided us with some. We haven't been able to tell her all of the information because we've not signed an official alliance yet. However, Elliot is working on that now.
What are the conditions of this alliance?
We will be allies. We will defend each other and fight with each other.
One just stares down at the table. And you 2 are both in agreement.
I think this is the best thing we can do for our people. I think this is the best thing you could do for your religion, short of wiping out all worshippers of Lady Aravel. These Vigilites, they don't believe in slavery. They abhor the idea. They're not the same as the Perrin.
They
not saying
believe
that
the Perrin
They
have
worship
warped.
the same god.
They believe
what
the
she was
Perrin
for.
have warped what would be the way that they worship her.
And I don't think they understand their own god.
It's rather presumptuous to presume that you know better than they do.
Thank you for that, Rowan.
What do you think that those people down in the dungeon think of Rogar? Tell me, I saw the fear in their eyes. What do you think they think of Rogar?
They shouldn't be thinking at all. They should be dead. They're lucky that I brought them here at all.
That is
And I did so because since we've been traveling together, and since I let my anger get us in trouble all that while ago, I've tried to adjust in order to protect my companions and our nation. I'm changing, or at least attempting to. Although there's one thing that will never change. And that is my faith in Brogar and what he stands for.
I know that you've been changing for us and for the kingdom. I know that it's not been easy for you. And I know that in these negotiations I felt like I've been betraying you. But I have to do what is best for our people.
Did she say anything about our laws?
Nothing. Not a mention.
But
She
that is
did have a
non-negotiable.
rather unhealthy desire to meet you, however. I say unhealthy mostly because you carry an axe.
And from what I come to hear, she carries a sword.
She wanted to go and visit the shrine of Vroga.
She never stepped foot in the shrine of Varga.
Yes, I didn't let her in, but the thing is, we are we're going to go to Vigil.
Sorry.
We're going to go to Vigil to sign this alliance.
You and Valorant.
And you.
And why would I go there?
Because you're our
I know.
friend. We need your support on this. If Vigil, or worse, the kingdom see that we are not unanimous on this, I understand that you will be the most against this. That is your role, that is your right. You're the defender of the realm, the chosen of the blade. However, you must allow the compassion of the martyr and the cold logic of Lady Arenda on this one. It's not an easy thing to do for you, I know. But these people...
Can I ask one thing, Juan? If, as you believe, they are wrong in their beliefs and worship of their god, what does it matter? They may worship wrong, but if they abide by their own laws, their own beliefs, then they are different.
Sorry, I like only half.
Oh, I said basically, if you believe, like you believed that they were wrong in their belief of their god, like they were wrong about how she should be worshipped. Then I said that what does it matter if they follow those beliefs, the ones that are not in line with what she's actually about, but what they believe.
One just thinks and doesn't answer.
Maybe a way to think about this is, as Vroga has different facets, aspects, Vroga, Waruk, perhaps you should consider the Vigilites as somewhat different.
Perhaps. But I doubt it. We'll see. You say she wants to meet with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
She wishes to, I believe the term was, get a measure of the man. He thought something dirty there. He just saw, he's just there and he's just...
Yeah, I was like trying to hold it back so hard. Well, it looks like we're in for an interesting day tomorrow. In future, do not keep things from me. Not things such as this.
It was more alive a mission, one. But yes, I understand. We will take pains to ensure that you're informed of important things such as this.
It is terrible that we failed to inform you, Juan. I will make sure that we never have any mistake of this magnitude again. I apologize.
I accept your apology. However, I was going to spare you the details of Valorant because I believe you would not want to hear them. However, we must talk after they've gone about exactly what happened when I reclaimed our men and the slaves from the mines.
Yes. Baron ought to hear this. We shouldn't have secrets between each other, as you have pointed out. What did happen? I saw the looks in those people's eyes. They weren't akin to men who had seen battle. They were akin to peasants who'd seen a slaughter.
I believe we should talk about it when there may not be prying ears in the castle.
I think that's fair.
I'll tell you now if you like, but if word gets out, not that I care.
Do you think there's prying ears in your own castle? Oof, that's
No.
frightening.
The vigilantes are
Barry
here,
doesn't
so-
believe, but he understands that Varron understands that probably shouldn't. Like, he's not going to trust them either way. There's no point in pushing that. We can just talk about it later.
We need to dispatch a group of troops down to the camp where the incident occurred anyway. We need to recover some more of the documents that are in the cave system, and we also require to, well, I understand there's some form of ruin that you discovered down there.
Yes. You and Valorant especially should probably take a look at it. There's definitely some type of defense mechanism around it, though. I don't know what. Maybe you could read what it is.
Interesting.
I love the way you said that. That was so perfect.
Maybe you could read?
Yeah, maybe you could read your way around it.
In that case, we will make an effort to visit it when time allows. As for now, I would think that I need those documents as soon as possible.
We should
Lady
definitely
Graris.
secure the site as well.
Secure the what? Oh, the site. Yes, perhaps placing a small garrison in there wouldn't be a terrible idea.
Yes, I think that's wise.
Eventually, someone is going to send someone to find out what's happening there, what's holed up or such. It's definitely worth making sure that that message doesn't get out. At least not yet.
Yes, I believe also that our men should not wear uniform there. They should dress as the Hodgwen thugs dressed. And then if messages do come, to take care of them and inform us immediately.
Very well. 10 men, 3 to return.
So be it.
That it? We good?
Aye.
He would just ask how long
I'm
she's going to
muted.
be here for.
I don't think I need.
She may leave on her own tomorrow, or she may wait for Elliot to join her in 3 days.
After I meet with her tomorrow, if she does not leave, I must go and make sure 2 is doing what I've tasked him with.
If it is needed, she did seem eager to leave as soon as possible, so I don't believe that will
Good.
be a problem.
Good. And then he gets up without saying another word and just walks to his room.
Valorant gives Rayron a look like,
That's funny. All right, so you guys go to your room. Do the two of you converse any further, or do you kind of just leave things alone at this point?
Rayron would mention 2 is going to be a problem.
yes. I'm worried about how I'm worried and thankful about how quickly one thought to get 2 out of Kurzfall when they showed up. I'm thankful that he did it, but the fact he saw the need to so quickly is worrying.
If he breaks the laws in the kingdom, he will have to be punished equally. That will not sit well with one. I would rather avoid that sort of outcome.
I think as long as we talk to one and get one to talk to two, he has trouble like saying that. It's like how weird it is to say that sentence. I think one will be on our side with this. They are close, but I think one understands the magnitude of that situation. I think we can talk with him about this properly, I think. I don't believe that he would go back on us or betray us.
I don't believe for a moment that he would betray us. This man is akin to a brother for him. He would struggle with meting out justice should it be necessary. At the very least, he will struggle with the concept of sending this man away or restraining him in some manner.
I believe this is I believe to continue this conversation, we do need to talk to one about it. Find out from there.
I'm not going to bring it up until after the negotiations.
Yes, no, I agree. Merely, I understand your point. Don't get me wrong. It is a good point. I just worry I misjudged too many people too many times recently.
Perhaps. We're all guilty of that, I'm afraid. Is it late at the moment?
Yeah, because this was dinner time that he came back, so it would be dinner time late. Certainly, sun has fallen, so on and so forth. It's winter time, so again, it gets dark early. So it's been dark for a long time, well before dinner.
I'm gonna go ruminate in the Temple of the Martyr again for a while before I retire, I think.
Okay.
Rayron's gonna head up to the map room.
Okay. So you head up to the map room as you had just said.
And he sits there and he looks at the map for a little while. There isn't any way to summon you, is there?
It's like a moment. Do you say anything again? So you kind of like clear your throat over it, and then you do have, stepping seemingly out of nowhere, a form appears and says, "It's been a minute since we've seen one another."
Indeed it has. I had questions about how Gwen.
Really? And he comes over and he grabs a seat and slides it open. Not the one immediately next to you, but probably the one next to that. And kind of turns the chair towards you and sits down. Go on.
I understand that some of the leaders of Howd Gwen are acting strangely. Perhaps one would consider them insane. Is this the curse at work? They were leaders prior to the destruction of the curse. Could they still be affected by it?
He thinks for a moment and says, "I believe it is, or at least a good portion of it is. The leaders of Howd Gwen, there are a few newer ones, but there are some leaders that have been there for, and brace yourself for this, years."
Is there any way to remove the effect of the curse upon them?
Shakes his head.
You're aware of the slime curse that was upon the keep?
He says, I know the actions you took down there.
It appears that there is now a layer of slime upon all of the waters around Haldgwen.
You made a mistake, that's true, and so you can sit there and beat yourself up over if you'd like, but you're not the one that chose to capitalize on that mistake.
I'm not beating myself up. I'm asking you to help me fix it.
Well, that's unfortunately something that I don't think that I can do. You remember what that slime is, do you not?
Elemental force generated from the dirt and debris filtered from
You don't.
liters.
It was the people. When all fell and all the curses took place, the people became that slime.
That's it. How do we deal with it then, if it is?
Well, you mean aside
It's-
from scooping it out one spoonful at a time? Unfortunately, with what it's comprised of, it's not exactly flammable. You wouldn't be able to burn it. There might be some sort of way to get it back into the keep. I know those keeps very well, but it's not part of the design. The keep is designed to do other things.
If it is made of those people, is it made of just their physical bodies or their souls as well?
I was really hoping you wouldn't ask me that.
If the souls were removed, would this slime disperse?
I don't know if something like that could happen. I would have to think about it for some time. As you know, I've been a bit busy, but I could contemplate it for a little while. I think if the souls were removed, it would become weaker. Right now, the slime seems to be spreading, growing, but very slowly. And its resistance to just being removed, as talking about spoonfuls or shovels or whatnot. But if the souls are removed, it'd probably become exactly as it seems. Just a big patch of jelly, and the currents might even be able to take it away. However, I don't know how to remove a soul from a slime.
I don't know the faintest thing about souls, but as I understand it, devils do.
He leans in on that one. What are you thinking exactly?
Two birds with one stone.
You know that they're not physically in the keep right now.
If we persuaded them to come and remove the souls from the situation, free souls for them, and then we frame them for the slime. We say it was a curse brought about by these devils. In front of the people of Haldgwen, we defeat it.
I will say that is quite the offer that you'd be making for these devils. It would probably reverse any contracts that you had signed prior. However, and I say this because I've told you that your success is a priority of mine. I care about your being able to our goals align. We're talking about souls here. How will this weigh on yours?
I'm fairly certain when we decided to become the rulers of this realm, we gave up our souls to a higher power already.
If you think that you gave them to me, you're mistaken. You have full
No.
free will and autonomy.
I mean, our people have come to this land on the promise of a better life. And yet we stand here on the precipice of war, telling them that they must fight.
I get what you're saying. Well,
Should I not take any and all available options for me to save them?
the decision is yours. What I can do, what I can offer is this. Give me a few days. I've been doing a lot lately, and so I grow strong and weak periodically with the actions I've been taking, but give me a few days to prepare, and I can open a gate between here and where they're from. I can invite them back to this world. That way you can discuss with them rather than simply breach your contract and piss them off. They'll have to welcome you back into the lands that you've been cursed from. Well, contractually dedicated not to enter, however you want to phrase it.
Let me discuss this with the others. I'd like to see what they think of the idea. Aurorum would say no. And I'd need one if we're going to fight a devil.
I don't think you need to fight them with an offer like this. It is a decadent one, to say the least. And I don't know if everybody needs to be there to make this decision. A deal needs to be made with the devil.
Very well, I'll have the meeting. What is it you've been up to?
I look forward to sharing more information with you soon. What I will say is, you taking a northern keep is probably a good idea, because the lands to the north are soon going to be distracted with other things going on. Your expansion is very likely not going to be known by the people of Paradel, whether or not they have border guards. They'll have their own things to worry about.
I hope you've been taking actions to help our people and not harm our potential enemies.
Why would I do such a thing?
Why indeed?
It's always a pleasure. I hope you can think deep and hard on this one. Come to a conclusion. Whether if it's just you or the others are joining, I'm curious to see if this plays out. Give me a few days, and I'll be ready. But if you're not going to do it for some time, weeks, months, whatever it may be, give me a warning on that too. I don't want to sit on my hands.
Would probably be weeks at the earliest.
Weeks, you say?
I'm traveling to another city for some diplomatic purposes. After that, we might travel to Howard Gwen. It could be within a week.
A week, it seems. Okay.
You have a way to keep an eye on me, yes? Even outside the map rooms?
Oh, of course, yes. I'm everywhere in the dealer you can find me.
Then how may I draw your attention?
Same as always, it's just harder to hear you.
What should I say?
What you always say. By the way, congratulations. It seems as though you might be getting a keep sometime soon. I think all they have to do is raise the banner and then it's yours.
Good. That's good. All the undead are dead then.
Well, I didn't say that. I'll see you soon. And he stands up, and as he steps away from the chair,
Such a demon.
he seems to fade from existence. And so that goes. All right. Where do you guys go from here? She is not willing to wait for Elliot, but is willing to leave behind a half dozen guard or even all 20 of them. She'll ride on her own. She doesn't care. She'll leave behind a half dozen guard to escort Elliot back to Vigil, assuming that the leaders of Cursefall are willing to let them stay there. I'm just kind of jumping ahead. I know we're going to talk to one in a second. Are willing to let them stay there for a couple of days for Elliot to be prepared. The next morning, she'll look to meet with one, and it'll be a very like. I know you guys kind of go about your business. One is looking to meet with her as well, or at least understands that she wants to meet with him. Would he be waiting in a particular place? Would he be doing, like, would he approach her? Like, is it one of those things where, I demand her for breakfast? No, really, I want to eat her. Like, what are you?
One does not go out of his way for her at all. He just does what he usually does, whether he gets up late, goes for breakfast, goes to the shrine, whatever.
She's rather...
Valorant would make a point to early in the morning find one and just say, one, thank you for doing this. I understand it is exceedingly difficult given everything we know, everything you've been through. Just thank you.
You're too kind, Valorant. I hope that it never bites you in the back. And he puts his hand on your shoulder. Like he's sincere.
Brands him.
Yeah.
So anyways, if you really want to brand him, what you do is you actually give him like a soul patch. So a little soul patch on his otherwise clean shaven face. That's how you really know he's an evil fuck. So anyways, she's very informal. So literally at some point in time, maybe even during breakfast, she would just come walking in, looking for you. Like she has some guard that's tailing her, right? And she would just like, where's one? Oh, so no, she wouldn't say that. She'd be like, where's the chosen of the blade? You know, when somebody finally informs her, so we could say like it's literally during breakfast, she'd come walking into the chambers and she'd walk in and people would be around, probably look over and see her walking in. She'd take in the room to see all the other persons that might be in the room. Whether or not your characters happen to be attending, I don't care. She wouldn't care either. It's up to you to decide. But she would see you sitting there and probably eating. And she'd call over to you and say, Chosen of the Blade. Once again, armor, helmet under hand, so on and so forth. Chosen of the Blade, is now a good time, or?
Good a time as any.
She walks over and will actually take the seat immediately next to you and then look over to her servant and say, you know, kind of give like a quick order. A few boiled eggs, a few strips of whatever meat you happen to have on hand, and fresh fruit. Then she looks at you and says, we become acquainted. And she'll extend her hand and to shake yours.
One looks over and he probably has like bacon grease all over his hand. And he looks at his hand and then looks her in the eyes.
She takes your hand and says, the title is The Vigil. However, you can call me Octavia. I imagine your name is One. So she said, I've heard your name is One.
Yes.
One. We've heard rumors about one another, but I don't like rumors. Rumors are what you hear from spies, and it's often filtered through their own perception and sometimes misinformation. I want to know you.
Why?
Because you are not just any worshiper of Rogar Warrook. You happen to have very strong ideals that could positively or negatively impact all future relationships between your lands and mine.
Go on.
Well, are the rumors true?
Which rumors are you referring to?
That you hate all worshippers of Lady Aravel Darkeyes.
For being honest to you, with a passion.
Why?
We've only just met. maybe this is a conversation for a different time. For I don't share my life with people I don't know.
She agrees. She slides her chair back before her food gets there and stands up and says, "You worship a god of war. I worship a goddess of war. If we're going to get to know one another, it should be on the battlefield. I imagine you have practiced blades. I'll meet you outside whenever it is you see yourself ready. Enjoy your meal." And she walks away.
This is where you level 10 paladin me or something, mate. Just fucking screw me over for fun.
This is where Valorant is like doing work in the study, looks out the window and just does like the double take of, oh shit.
I sense this disturbance in the forest.
Something terrible is about to happen.
So, she walks out of the room. Do you say or do anything else before she leaves, or you just let her leave the room?
Finish eating.
Okay. So you finish eating or whatever.
Doves down his crispy bacon.
Uh,
Stilly.
do you intend to meet with her or not?
Yeah, he would.
Okay. So, the two of you, where would you want to meet with her?
Out of the city.
Outside of the city?
Yeah.
Where no one can hear you scream. Wait, what?
When you suggest outside of the city, she like kind of like you said word that meet outside of the city or whatever. Shoot, or do you approach her? Like, how do you want to? Because the ball's in your court.
He just walks outside, looks at her, and then starts walking.
Great. She would walk with you and say, "Do you have a preferred choice of battle?"
There's a spot a little ways out. Not far.
She'll stop and say, "Are we to leave the boundaries of the city?
Yes.
Are you bringing any guards with you?"
No.
She thinks for a moment. "Might I make a request?"
Go for it.
We're both to leave the city. Many things can happen to rulers outside of the safety of their walls if they are not wise. Beyond that, of course, there is a degree of animosity that is between us, even if it is, even if it's mild. Things can go sideways when a combat happens. I think we should have a third with us. Might I suggest your general?
No. Might I suggest Cthulhu?
She thinks for a moment. Was that the big one?
Correct.
He wears armor and has a weapon at his side. Does he know how to use them?
He can use other things other than just a weapon.
She raises an eyebrow. Ah?
I once seen him split, stomp, and... Are you shushing me?
No, sorry.
It did look like it.
He just says, I've seen him split the ground apart with his... I think it was his foot.
Yeah. Very well. Kithul it is. Okay. You guys collect Kithul. You send the guard. Gets Kithul. No problem. And you walk out of the city. When you guys walk out of the city to go whichever spot you happen to choose, did you bring practice blades?
Good question. What did she do?
She doesn't own a practice. Like, she's in another form in the city. She has her sword. So she brings her sword because she's leaving the confines of the city. But
I guess, yeah.
okay. So practice blades are pretty easy to get your hands on because obviously you're training soldiers. You can go there and grab one of a big sword and one of an axe and whatnot. That's pretty easy to do. You guys leave the city. When you finally choose a spot wherever it is, you're like, yeah, here's good enough. Like, however it happens to go. She says, I'm genuinely looking forward to this, she says. She unfastens the belt that has her sword on it and puts it off to the side and lies it on the ground.
Steal the sword.
Fucking that scared me.
I watched Tesla.
And probably takes out his battle axe and just throws it off to the side.
Undoes his belt and drops his weapon out as well.
Ew. She removes her cloak.
I was gonna take that so much further then. I thought I better not.
She removes her cloak and drops that to the ground as well, because obviously being a large cloak, it would weigh her down. But then she also reaches around her neck and she grabs her holy symbol and says, I wish to speak to one. I wish to speak to the man. I wish not to speak to the chosen of a god. And she removes her holy symbol and drops it down next to her sword.
Basically, Scott's like mooning one right now, slapping his bum like he'll never have a better chance.
So what? She wants to just melee combat it out, no gifts from our gods.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, right. One would do it because one doesn't know that DM's screwing him over. Dodgiest shit I've ever fucking seen, Scott. I've seen you pull some dodgy shit.
What are you talking about? So she you do the same. You actually remove your holy symbols as well.
Yep.
Okay. And then she stands there. She picks up the practice sword and she walks up, stands before you, and squares off, and says, "Why do you hate worshippers of Lady Aravel?"
Does she attack after that?
Nope. She squares off and says that.
One just readies his stance.
Smacks her.
You wanna roll initiative?
No, she's just standing there.
Right now, Jake's like,
I don't know how to word what I fucking want. He'd just be like, I grew up far from here. Very far.
She nods, understanding, saying, "As did I."
Where are you from originally?
Vigil.
Doesn't seem too far.
Far enough for a young girl's legs. You didn't answer my question.
I was taken. Watched my mother slaughtered in front of my eyes.
By who?
Worshippers of your lady.
Nods. Sounds unfortunate.
Quite. You know what was fortunate? When the Order of the Broken Chain came to liberate us. There wasn't many of us left by then. But through them, I see.
The Order of the Broken Chain. I'd be lying if I said I've heard of them. However, the name Beguile, the name, I'm missing the word here, but the name more or less says everything it's meant to, I believe.
I believe so. Then we're not clandestine in any way.
So you hate worshippers of Lady Aravel because a few people that happen to use her name wronged you in a horrible way.
Not a few. There are many, most who worship your lady. Take slaves as they will. Treat them how they will. You demand obedience. People aren't given a choice.
Lady Aravel does demand obedience of her worshippers. That is certainly true. Are you referring to the Paradel? She's still holding her stance, muscles not even twitching.
He just looks irritated and just kind of is like, sure, Paradel, outside Paradel, it's always been the same.
Has it?
As far as I've seen.
What about the worshippers of Vrogar? Or Vrogar Warwick, whichever phrase you choose to use. Are there no worshippers of Vrogar that just do terrible things? Are there no worshippers of Vrogar that use his name to enact horrors on others? Perhaps even those in the Barren Lands.
Probably many in the Barren Lands. They're pretty mindless there.
She nods and says, but you're not of that type of worship,
No.
are you?
You know, they eat people in the Barren Lands.
I do. I've heard rumor. Never seen it.
I've seen it.
Is one threatening to eat?
No, because he said seen. He didn't say I have or anything like that. He's just said I've seen.
Before that, it
So-
really sounded like a...
Well, it is still. I clearly was meant to be like an intimidating thing. So she says, well, there are worshippers of Vrogar that do terrible things in his name, and one could argue many worshippers of Lady Aravel do terrible things in her name. So let me tell you this. She throws the sword, practice one, down on the ground and says, I'm a worshipper of Lady Aravel, and I wish not to go to war or come to blows with those that I sign a peace treaty with, because Lady Aravel demands obedience to all laws, especially those that are put forward by ourselves and our allies.
One just looks at his axe. So, what? You told me you wanted to fight to not fight.
Oh, I would still love to spar with you.
You threw your sword on the ground.
She looks down at it, looks at you and says, perhaps just a little dramatic.
Perhaps. Should we head back to the city then?
She thinks for a moment and says, Kithul, how safe is it here? Kithul just kind of like looks around and goes, there aren't usually any problems in these areas now that the immediate vicinity has been cleared. She looks to you and says, would you mind if Kithul went on a perimeter walk to make sure that we're safe?
He looks at Kithul and nods.
Kithul nods as well, and then walks off because he doesn't care either way. And she'll scoop up her sword and say, well, I guess if we're going to spar, might as well have fun of it. And we'll worry about what happens during that sparring match some other time. We don't need to worry about that right now. Actually, I think that might be a funny little side VOD for Jake and I to make it some point in time. Hey, listen, if you ever saw the end of Rocky 3, okay, you don't get to know the ending. So anyways, I don't know if Jake's trying to say something because he's not Jake, Tesh, because he's been muted.
Well done! He got the name right after the first try.
You know, I'd insult him too if I hadn't just continuously tried to talk while muted twice. No, I was just gonna say I might not be able to do next week, so that's probably a good idea to do that sort of thing.
Yep. Nope, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, we'll handle that one on the side. We'll do that one afterwards.
It depends on some other stuff.
She will spar with him. The two of them are going to come back with new bruises and a couple of cuts because even a practice blade, a wooden sword,
Knees. Wait, what?
even a practice blade can cut you and whatnot. And neither one of them.
I'm just saying, one's getting older and doesn't have any kids yet, so.
Both of them, neither of them are willing to just not trade mighty blows. Like both of them are willing to throw it their all into their non-magical fight and whatnot. So anyways, That'll
Can
be
a paladin smite without their holy symbol?
I don't think they can use any of their. Well, they can't cast spells at their holy symbol. I think they can smite,
They can
but she wouldn't.
smite.
Yeah, but
You
she
don't
would
need your
use.
holy symbol for lay on hand.
He doesn't need a holy symbol to use his protections either. But assume
Oh,
neither of them are utilizing their their faith. They're just individuals. But so, anyways, they would spar, and we'll deal with that some other time. She would leave later on that day. So she'd come back, and she's not the kind of person. She's very informal. She's not gonna clean her face up. It'd be like a wet rag to wipe herself, but she's not needs to bathe or be proper. She doesn't care. She's covered in dirt and shit. And she would eventually just get with her soldiers, who would all be at and she'd be like, everything's fine, and would leave and head back to Vigil. A couple days later on, so wouldn't what's his face Elliot leave there. What?
But is it pay-per-view? Is this going on Patreon? This the triple X-rated scene.
Ooh,
Jake,
Jake, because it's not going to be on Twitch or YouTube. I expect nipple tassels for when we do this little.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
You're wearing the nipple tassels?
Sure, why not? Everything else is covered by hair. Might as well cover up the only part that's not. So. Oh, sorry, Neil. Does that get you excited? So, anyways, you
That's it. Banned on Twitch.
Was there anything else your characters needed to do in the short term? I don't think there was. I think we have just enough time that we can finish up.
Please, kingdom rolls.
Kingdom rolls for your characters.
Now, didn't we
it's
do
been a
some last
while.
session?
Now,
Has it really been long?
It has been a while, yeah.
It has been a long time.
Now, before we do Kingdom Rolls, we need to go over something that Jake had asked me, I think, twice at the beginning of this session, and I didn't answer him yet, which was, what did we get when I killed all those people? I mean, when we raided that place. I mean, what are our rewards?
They deserve to die, and I don't regret it.
Nobody asked you to. So, what I need for the 3 PCs, I need each of you guys, and I'm going to explain why in a second, to roll 2d4.
Right, let me roll this. You want 2?
Oh,
Nice.
Well, Val. Well.
Well, you're gonna take 2d4 damage.
Rayron and 1.
Close.
Do you want to know what you rolled for?
This is very appropriate for our main king, next main king, then next main king.
No.
Is that BP?
This is what you guys found in favors, loot, cash, and otherwise in BP.
Nice.
In that hold. You see, remember that? Remember all those books that she pointed out and all the other ones that you sent soldiers to gather and bring back? All those books that are family stuff? Inside there was a lot of stuff like her family had gathered on other people, stuff on her own family, where it is that they have their value kept, the various treasures that they have. We're talking like
21
bits of artwork and whatnot that of value. Remember, every BP is worth, depending on how you look at it, about 4,000 gold pieces.
Diamond encrusted nipple tassels.
She was-
Donated by Scott.
Her and her husband were very, very, very wealthy people, right? And so 21 times 4,000 is how much cash, but you got that in BP. So let's just add that onto your character sheet, your treasury. 8 becomes 29, which is friggin' huge for your treasury. However,
Yeah.
Jake was like, don't just give me BP, I want some other stuff too, okay? So what I also want you guys to do is I want each of you guys to roll for me 5d10.
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 Okay.
Roll 5d10. Bat. Ones for days, baby.
That second dice is locked. Oh my god!
Nice.
I like how we both get a 10, but less.
Yeah, I got 2 ones. I just rolled really well on my other ones.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just looking at what people cashed in from spending daddies. You guys actually got 3 more BP than that from daddies spent throughout this session. So
Ooh.
it was 3 from Steve is who had cashed it in.
24 BP. Dang.
Yeah, that's insane.
Thank you, Steve.
Have you put that in our treasury, Scott?
Yep, I'm gonna do it right now. So I can shoot at 32.
That's so exciting.
Then, so as for gold, 1 second.
No way, I guess slavery pays. So
Wow.
Baron's gonna we're gonna go into debt and Baron's gonna start like a black market slavery ring. That's Baron's arc. Like no one would see that shit coming. I love it.
Perrin influenced him a little too much when he was growing up.
In flat gold, it's actually not all gold. It's mostly my post. No, it's mostly gold, gold and silver, whatnot. In actual like value, that is the amount that you got there in goods that were easily tradable and whatnot. So this is like more or less a disposable income. It's not fully liquid, but a disposable income for the party. 8,700 for the actual party. This is stuff that does not come in the sake of like favors owed, blackmail, property value, so on and so forth. This is actual liquid asset for the party.
Right, should we split that between the three of us then?
It splits nice and evenly. So yes.
And then lastly, you guys obviously found out about the
2,900
bracelet.
each, yeah.
You guys found out about the bracelet, of course, and you took that, the one that has to do with communicating with her children, her 3 children.
Yes.
Okay.
I currently have that, but I don't want to use it because it's something we can use with her and for the communication with the children.
Speak with
thing.
her kiddos, which is pretty
Yeah.
good if you start chatting them up.
Mm-hmm.
What was it 2,900 each? Yeah,
Correct.
that's glorious.
You also happen to find down inside of there. So this is a ton of books that have to do with what the mages were working on. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that you guys weren't able to work on that yet. So you're gonna have to make rolls to figure that kind of stuff out. But as for other magic items, realistically, there was only one other magic item that was in the area, and it happens to be a cloak, and it's just a cloak of protection +1.
Who's got a cloak of protection? Someone has a cloak of protection, right?
Cloak, no, I don't
You
think.
have a ring of protection.
Yeah, there's a
I've got a
different.
ring,
One's
yeah, I thought
AC.
someone else-
Cloak is for saving throws.
Cloak of resistance, is it?
Cloak of resistance. My apologies. Thank you. I said the wrong thing.
Let's have a
Okay.
look. Cloak of
Resistance +1.
not in the Pathfinder thing. God damn.
Oh yeah, I was about to say I only know the one that's
It's
in
+1 to all
5e.
saves.
On all saves. Okay. Who wants it? Should we decide in between in the
You
week?
guys can decide in between exactly.
By what I mean by that is we'll leave it and then next week we'll go, oh shit, who wants the cloak?
just leave a note in it right now, and let's start making our kingdom
Yeah.
rolls. So the first thing we have to roll for, and we're gonna have to make some decisions because you guys are actually rolling really well right now. Your control DC is 26. Your modifier is +27 because Patreon has been very, very nice to you. They're currently giving you a 7 modifier on there, so a big thank you to them. As well as the fact that there's the kingdom thing going on at the moment that gives you an additional 1. So you automatically can succeed your control DC, which means that your unrest is reduced by 1. You did actually have an unrest of 1. So that now goes away, which is exciting. Getting your control DC up to a 28. So but you don't get any free BP for that because you just got brought down to 0. So you automatically succeed. Oh wait, a natty 1 auto fails, doesn't it? You still have to control. You still have to roll. Just roll me a D20, anybody. There's a 5% chance you auto fail. Yeah.
I'll do it. I got this. / roll 1d20 plus 28.
Yeah, 27. Yeah, because it was 27 at the time. Okay. Yeah.
Flat 30, baby. I'm getting rid of the bad rolls, ready for the good ones later, don't worry.
All right, now you pay your consumption, which just as a reminder, your consumption's a 4, so your 32 treasury drops down to a 28 treasury. So bam, that's good news. Well, whatever. So that goes down to a 28. Then you're going to roll for magic items. You guys automatically create 1 magic item. Fun thing happens. You guys had a magic item in your vault. Remember that? You guys had created a scroll
Yes.
of whatever. That was actually purchased. You actually find, wait, that's not here? It's like, oh, yeah, actually, Lay of the Lands, that scroll that was there, that was actually purchased by a couple of traveling adventurers that came through. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure those are the adventurers that had saved, that had brought, what's his name back?
We've really absorbed them into our economy now. They're
Exactly.
fueling the war machine.
So I have to actually get on your magic item area. I think I have to roll 3 on there currently. So I'll take care of that afterwards. I'm not going to waste time for that right now. And a 4th one needs to, hold on. There's a chance that you make a 4th item. Just because I owed from last time.
Scott just suddenly stopped talking and just went,
Oh,
at the camera, and we were all like,
Can you do me a favor and roll me a D100, one of you, I don't care who. If you roll between a 1 and a 30, you make a new magic item.
Don't let us down,
Fuck it.
Tesh.
Yeah, I was fucking. I'll do it. Do you want to do
They
it?
actually already used Lay of the Land, and they found out something cool over there, but I can't say anything because it's a Patreon thing.
Hey!
What do you roll? Hey, you rolled shit!
Hey.
Good job! Good job! So we have to
You
actually
saved me for the shit rolls.
so I have to add 4 items onto what's available in your kingdom for you to purchase or anybody else. Moving on. Now it's the unrest check. That doesn't matter. You don't have any unrest, so you're good. Assignments. Confirm leadership role assignments. I think it's just Neil and I currently inside that thing, just looking at your leadership roles. You currently have Val, Ray, and 1 inside their usual areas. You have Edric, Kithul, Arthur, and Leon and Elliot inside their appropriate areas. And you currently have no other leaders to assign, so I think you guys are happy with where they are.
I think so. We need a Magister and a Marshal.
Well, you needed somebody to take over being Elliot's counselor so that he can become the Magister, which he's going to want to do actually next month probably because
Even though he's
finishing.
rubbish at magic, just saying. Unfunny one.
You don't know his builds, do you? He's actually pretty good.
He just talks a lot. He's all talk.
You actually use him. It's funny. You use him for his charisma. He's much better with his intelligence. Like a lot better.
Yeah, I can tell he's not very charismatic from our first meeting. Oh!
Can I mute him? All right. So after that, are you guys going to claim any more hexes? Note. Every time you claim a hex, it increases your control DC. You're currently rolling with a plus 28, and you have a 26 for a control DC.
Yes, we need to claim. We need to claim the one on the left of the blue one. We need to claim on our way over to Loshep, basically. We want to complete.
Get my map.
Okay. So you're going to turn this. Let me turn on the map for the viewers.
Yes,
as well.
we do need. You're right. we
Does
do need to
green
start
means
doing
that they are explored? And they need
but
to
not claimed. Yeah.
Okay, so how much would it cost us to claim those 3?
Well, you can only claim 1 a turn.
Okay.
Unless you have a certain edict going on, then it allows you to claim more.
Okay, cool.
Let me just get this so it looks
fine.
nice for the viewers. 1 second. That should be good. So that's enough of the map to see. So we want to turn that 1 green one into a purple because you're claiming it, correct? Oh, no, sorry, you're turning it into a blue. So we'll do that for you. Copy and...
You guys agreeing with this, yeah?
And so you're paying 1 BP to make that happen. So that brings down your treasury back down to 27, which is a considerable amount still. After that, you can now do buildings, settlements, buildings or settlements. Anything you wanted to build into your current kingdom.
Question: how much is it to upgrade from a shrine to a temple?
A pretty good amount. Give me 1 second.
Oh, fuck that then.
1 second.
We got heaps of stuff we gotta build before that.
Yeah, I remember them being super expensive. Yeah.
I hate to say it, but that's
32 BP.
What about a smithy? 6 BP.
You have a
Well,
smithy, don't
build
you?
We have one.
Did we? Did we get it built?
Yeah, you just she's just not here. She's currently trying to get
okay,
metals
cool.
from elsewhere. Yeah.
Should we? Well, no, we don't
So
really need
viewers can
to.
see the settlements currently set up.
I was gonna say, should we consider walls? But actually, we've not got any unrest, so let's not.
Well, walls are also good for defense, but it helps to eliminate unrest if you have.
May
them.
as well pop it at the right point.
Yep, sure. Anything else you'd like to build?
Um,
You guys were originally talking about marketplace before too. Marketplaces
Yeah,
are
so
also
that's
not.
really expensive. It's 48 BP.
Oh yeah, so you wouldn't be able to. You have to continue saving up to get to that.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Redonkulous.
But to
I think
build
it's
a
probably good-
marketplace, it has to be adjacent to two houses. So I think.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what you're gonna do here. You're gonna do that.
I think
here.
we should save it and not really spend it at the moment.
Okay. So you want to save your BP?
That's my input. I don't know
I
about
think
you.
so.
I'm really tempted to say we should get an inn.
You don't have an
How
in.
much is an in?
It's 10 BP and it gives us +1 economy, +1 loyalty. Has to be adjacent to one house, base value +500 GP, and +1 society for the settlement.
Yeah, no, that might be a good idea.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. I think you're right.
Yeah, you guys think that's and also I like the idea of there being an inn in our town, you know, so that
Yeah, I
the
agree. yeah.
filthy Patreoners can come and enjoy our patronage.
Right here is where you're gonna build your market. Where would you like to put the inn?
Where are we building the market? Sorry.
Right here.
Let me
Next to the
close all my
Down
pop
there.
outs.
So should we whack it at the furthest from the castle on the right?
Well, the problem if you
east.
do that is if this eventually becomes a temple,
No,
that's
not there.
too
No,
small.
no, over here.
Up next, it has to be
You can
adjacent to a house.
you can ping. Okay. Oh, it does have to be adjacent to a house, doesn't it?
Yeah. So like there, I'm thinking.
To the right. Okay.
What do you guys?
Yeah, that's cool.
Jake's like, I don't give a fuck. He's like, does it have anything to do with slavery? No. Fuck off.
No,
We
I think
definitely-
that's a good
we needed
place.
an in. We definitely needed an in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything that increases our economy is worth it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Applying it to your character sheet.
And it
now.
increases our society. So
Yeah,
we
which-
can be like, oh, we're so very posh.
Oh yes.
All right. So that's gonna be minus.
Have you
10.
seen the new tea house?
If we have an inn, more adventurers are going to come through, and adventurers, as we all know, have buttloads of cash for no reason, and we want them
Exactly.
to come through and buy stuff.
Probably because we're paying them in like 4 BP for like their services. Jesus, Elliot.
Remember, whenever you
Wow.
build something else, you can build a house or a tenement for free. Do you want to do that, or no? We've got enough.
I honestly don't know because I've not really
That's fine.
built.
I honestly didn't think you needed any more at the moment,
No,
anyways.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
If
cool.
you don't think it, then I won't.
Okay.
I wasn't sure whether they're like something you should just spam out at every opportunity.
No. Yes, if you're building towards something, but you already have the 2 that you need here for building your marketplace in the
Market,
future.
yeah.
Yeah, and this house right here, though it can't work for anything other than this inn, I don't think there's any other buildings you're looking to do that need a house. And if you did, you have this one here for the time being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, moving on. So after building the house, you guys can then do terrain improvements. I'm just double checking how many you're allowed to do at this moment. I believe it's 2. 2 improvements. So which improvement? Preparing land counts as 1.
Shall
these-
we prepare the land we just claimed?
Also, building roads counts as 1 too if you want to
Yeah.
start doing that.
Could we look back on the Mapu?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that I pulled you away because I can see both at the same time. Sorry about that.
Scott, you scamp. Has everywhere got all the farms and lumber mills it can have?
Everywhere that's purple has what it can have.
Should we build a fishery on the river?
Oh, you haven't built a fishery yet. That's definitely one you can do. And this is
Yeah, we
actually
should.
What
plains
does a
right
fish-
here. So since this is plains, this can actually be prepared almost immediately.
Fishery. My eyes.
Everybody loves hearing you make that noise. So a fishery, just so you know, since you can't find it, is consumption is decreased by 1 BP. So it decreases your consumption. It costs only 4 to do.
What do you guys think? Because we can do 2, so like you say, Tesh, we can prepare that one and fishery the other one.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd agree.
Because reducing consumption is a good idea.
So it costs
Yeah.
4 BP to make the fishery. So let's turn your 17 into a 13. Let's make sure I grab the right thing over here. Is this the right thing? It is. Copy and paste and put this back over here. I'm going to
What
drop
will the inn
this.
be called?
Fishery is now set right there
Submit
for you
names
guys.
on the Discord.
Yeah, definitely
What?
agreed.
What did I
Someone
miss?
asked in chat, what will the inn be called? And Jake
King
said
Naga's
submit
named
names.
everything so far, so
Yeah.
if anyone can beat him.
Yeah, put the names in the Kingmaker spoiler chat, and we'll have a look at those.
Yes, that's a good idea.
You got to give credit where credit is due, and he is good at. He's good at two things. Okay, coming up with names for your kingdom and fucking with one. So, and if you're curious why your consumption hasn't changed, it's because adding
One might be fucking with him pretty soon.
Adding a claimed space.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So, and are we also? You said preparing this lands, or did you guys want to? Oh, you can't claim again. Maybe you want to claim red next time. So, anyways, did you wanted to claim this land here, which, by the way, costs I think 1 BP, because it is not claim it. Sorry, prepare it. Yep, that is considered plains. It's only 1 BP and it's ready immediately. Did you want to do that?
Why not?
Okay, then we'll do that. So we're going to turn that. I went from green to blue to purple all at once. I'll charge you in a second. There we go.
Don't worry about it. You don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to charge. It's fine. It's fine. Take as long as you need.
Gotcha. Took the money. Don't worry about it. All right.
Damn
next, next up for you, after we're done with the leadership roles, exploration. Oh, did you guys do any exploration?
No, we didn't have time for it, let's be honest.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. You didn't.
Yeah.
Are we declaring any edicts? So this would be things like holidays are currently bi-monthly, propaganda is currently standard, propaganda being like, we're awesome. Taxation is currently normal, and recruitment is actually aggressive. You guys are aggressively recruiting your people.
Yes,
I would like to keep it on that.
Yeah, I would consider turning it down from aggressive because it would reduce our consumption significantly.
But you are planning to go to war.
I know,
So-
but we can like bring less forces and let Vigil die.
I don't think that's
I mean, on the other hand, if we're bringing Vigil soldiers, we saw what happened to them last time. Maybe we need to keep it on aggressive.
Oh, throwing shade. Okay. So
That's true.
we'll leave it there. So it's good. Income phase. Okay. Are we withdrawing any BP or spending any of your money to gain BP?
No.
You guys don't want to spend that 8,700 to turn it into BP?
How much BP is it worth? Like 3?
4,000 becomes 1 BP.
2. It's worth 2.
No, let's leave it for now.
Okay, so you don't want to gain more BP. You also can still try to trade. You never tried to trade the rest of those mull coins that you had. And if there's anything else you want to try to trade for your kingdom. And then it's taxes.
Me and Tesh could try and do the trade on the mole coins.
Yeah.
Okay,
I tried and sold some of mine last time.
I don't believe I've
Got
sold
all the gold
any of
ones.
mine, yeah.
Ooh, something smells good.
Yeah, I've still got 511.
Okay, that's going to be
Oh
you
my
if you want to try to trade all of them. Or trade 500, keep 11 for funsies.
Do you have gold mole coins or the Electrum mole coins?
Electrum.
Yeah, I've sold my Electrum. I have the gold ones.
So who wants to try to trade?
Can we both not do it, or is it just gotta be one?
It's one of those things where you don't want to try to do too much at once because you take penalties for it, but you can definitely
Tesh,
try
you
to.
can, you can do this one.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be the next.
I'll honestly, he would want to keep some, so probably 500, clean 500, and keep 11.
Okay. Yeah, I figured he's the kind of like keep the fun stuff. So roll me your economy check, sir. You have a plus 18 for this. This is not for gaining money. This is for trading.
Wait. So what am I rolling?
1d20 plus 18, sir.
Thought so. Cool. Just wanted to make sure before I stuffed it up.
Okay, that is a good roll. So this is what's his name? Edric, I think his name is. Yes, Edric comes to you and he's like, "Well, I did reach out to the contacts that I had beforehand, the ones that I tried to sell the coins with several months ago. As I said before, they didn't like the They didn't like the tactic that you approached and the aggressive nature with which we tried to sell them. So it scared most away, and we got what we could with the transfer. However, the fact that we actually went through with the transaction last time was an act of good faith they appreciated. So people were more amicable. People are more willing to trade this time. I was able to earn in exchange for the BP. Did you want? Sorry, for the Electrum. Did you want this as BP or as coin?
Probably BP. I've got plenty of coin at this stage.
Okay. He says then I was actually able to trade this in for equivalent of 2 BP.
Nice.
Very well done.
Yeah, not
Thank
to be
you.
scoffed at.
Yeah, I'll take that.
It's like there are some collectors out there that just really like Mull artifacts, and this is a considerable number to add to their hoard.
I pull out one of the 11. Indeed. Put it back.
And then he and now it's going to be rolling for your taxes, the economy.
Go on, Jake. You got this, bud.
This is 1d20
It's tax time. It's
So it's-
tax time.
slash roll 1d20 plus 18 divided by 3.
No pressure.
I don't know if because of order of operations.
Desperately need you to roll well, Jake.
I don't-
Desperately.
I don't know if because of order of operations you have to put the parentheses around 1d20 plus 18 first.
I'm just gonna roll it as 1d20 plus 18 because I have no idea how to do the other part of it.
Okay. That's an easy number. It's 10. You earned 10 BP.
That economy.
That
The
is
free in.
that is pretty amazing. That is a free in, right? And that's not even the last of it,
Luck roll it.
because Patreon also delivered into
Should
you
I
this
luck
month.
roll it?
Oh, you can, yeah. You can get one more BP if you roll 2 or higher.
Ooh.
That's 4,000 gold for that, guys.
Hang on.
Hey.
Yay!
So you got 11 BP, and from your economy roll, and then lastly, Patreon had given you 7 more BP on top of that. So you actually got 18 more. So 18 actually brings you back up to exactly 32.
I love Patreon.
Yep, they're doing right by us at the moment.
Yeah, they are.
We have 32 BP now.
You're back up to 32. Exactly.
Nice.
And the last thing I need from you, boyos, is somebody to roll me a D100.
Go on, I'll do it.
Do we know if we need a high or low number?
Come round to me.
Do I
again.
get to also roll that ceremony check? That plus 3?
Oh, yes, I will have you roll that in a second.
Yeah.
92. Okay, nothing happens
high
this
roll.
time. Nothing happens this time? No. Things that happen aren't usually good. They can be bad as well.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Why
But
can't
there's
something good happen?
a 75% chance that something happens next time now.
Oh,
Good.
okay.
We'll make sure Tesh rolls that one.
Jake, that is, as you said, a 1d20, but you get to add your modifier for... I know, that was weird. I did blink. Jake, you roll with a plus 3. You okay there, Jake?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm saying Jake,
Yep.
I mean Tesh.
What is happening?
Is he being
What?
haunted by ghosts? Mama!
Hello?
So I'm just rolling a 1d20 plus 3.
This is terrifying. You're right, Tesh.
Tesh, you okay?
Tesh?
Is Tesh there?
I don't know. You're just gonna hear through Tesh's mic in a minute. No more mama. Mama hates you.
I don't know what happened to Tesh.
I actually enjoyed your birthday streams. F Tesh, he's like,
Yeah.
poor boy. He just looked terrified, then left.
Yeah. Why don't we finish up so we can get out of here. So Neil, talk about yourself real quick.
Hey, I am Neil, or at Nekai. You can find me on twitch.tv/OllyRam. And you can tune in under an hour, 40 minutes now, for the beginning of a new series called Horn of Plenty.
That's, you know what? I'm gonna leave that alone. So
It's not pay-per-view like Scott stuff.
I don't know what Horde of Plenty is, but okay. Is it Yavaskir?
I mean, depends. I mean, Yavaskir is both a continent and a world, so yes and no.
I mean, is it in the world of Yavaskir?
I just answered your question, dude. Think about what I said.
So you're saying the planet of Yavaskir, but not the continent of Yavaskir? You know what? It's actually going to be an interplanetary campaign. Intergalactic, planetary, intergalactic.
Yep. And me and Scott are going to play Gay Guys in it together, but I'm going to die before we can really explore that.
Oh! I was like, gig eyes? What are gig eyes? And then I was like, oh! You mean when we were lovers and we never got to have fun with it, Neil? That's
that
okay.
Was good.
Neil,
that
Neil,
was
we
deep,
always
you know.
have real life.
Oh no. Oh.
Moving on. Jake, you can find him over here at this time or over on Lost Initiative at 9 p.m. EST on Thursdays, but not this week, next week, okay? Not this week, next week, okay? And me, you find me here, and you find me on Lost Initiative, my other channel. Eventually, I'm going back on Maggie's channel on Monday nights, but she's on a hiatus because she's doing stuff. I don't know. Well, eventually. All right, and Tesh is over on The Tesh Tube, twitch.tv/The Tesh Tube, or youtube.com, The Tesh Tube, where he plays a variety of games, has been playing a lot of Borderlands 3, and having a lot of fun with it.
Check out his Twitter if you want access to lots of cute animal gifs.
And so on and so forth. Okay, well then, I will be seeing you guys later.
Like,
I have a million things I got to do. My goal is to get Patreon stuff up tonight for Patreon because it was recorded weeks ago and still hasn't been up yet. And it's the 25th of the month because I'm a terrible person. All right, tune back next week where we kill things. I promise.
No.
Bye.
Bye.
Death to visual.